A CD Projekt Red employee has called out a video that compares Starfield to Cyberpunk 2077. Let's check it out. These video game mechanics comparison videos are getting out of hand. Every time there's a new open world RPG or action game, someone is making a video comparing it to GTA 5, and now apparently Cyberpunk 2077? Yeah, you heard right. The game that released in a worse state than human dignity on TikTok.
Something feels off here. You don't say.
Okay, so recently a CD Projekt Red developer struck a chord when he outed a video made on social media comparing Starfield to Cyberpunk 2077. Surprisingly, it was less derogatory towards Cyberpunk and actually a bit of an indictment on the immersion of Starfield. Wow, never thought I'd see the day where people would try to make Starfield look bad by comparing it to Cyberpunk. Does that say a lot about the current state of Cyberpunk, or very little about the latest by the Fallout boys? No, not Fallout Boy. I mean, the makers of the latest and greatest spacefaring RPG, Starfield. You know what's funny? I always want to call the Vault Boy from Vault Tech Fallout Boy. I digress. Anyway, when I tracked down the origin of this video, it came from the Prizza gaming channel on YouTube. I guess that's how you say that. I know I'm a regular sleuth these days. Let's take a look at the video and see what got good old Patty Mills stirred up. Oh yeah, the good old jumping off something high into water bit. God forbid, you know, one little thing wouldn't be perfect in a game, especially on release. I've never found the water physics in Cyberpunk to be all that great either. It's a dead-eyed NPC walking around not reacting to anything. I seem to recall Cyberpunk being just like that in the beginning.
I want to go home.
Yeah, you know how long it took Cyberpunk to get to this point? Like 3 years, where NPCs react to you and cars drive away when they feel threatened or scared. Yeah, people did this same thing right here for Cyberpunk. Yeah, this stuff you're seeing was patched in way later on Cyberpunk. I mean, I would honestly say Starfield right now is in way better shape than Cyberpunk was when it came out. Yeah, crowd reactions. They actually patched that in and called it panic mode. I'm like, okay. They released it like it was a DLC. Yeah, water physics, that wasn't there before either. That was patched in as well. 2 years later. It's really just unfair to compare these two games. I mean, a lot of these clips you're seeing of Cyberpunk is 2.5 years of patching, and Starfield is like fresh off release, you guys. Now, those water physics do look sexy, though. I mean, it's not bad. Like, come on, dude. The physics in Starfield, the water, is not bad unless you're just a picky bastard, okay? Alright, so Patrick Mills doesn't think too highly of these type of hypercritical and aesthetic obsessive comparison videos, and I don't blame him, especially since Cyberpunk suffered at the hands of this kind of proverbial low-hanging fruit for years. Here's what he had to say about this particular video after it apparently went viral with over 22 million views. How times have changed. To be continued, this fake criticism is actively harmful to the way the audience interacts with the medium, and I hate it. But it's very funny to see after how many hundreds of these were made to ridicule Cyberpunk 2077.
Well said, Mr. Mills, and I completely agree. There's a fine line between holding game devs accountable for cranking out lackluster, uninspired, and low-effort productions year after year, and just making an unnecessary spectacle over the most trivial aspects of a game's content. Have we gotten this cynical, this overbearing, this entitled? Well, you can't please everyone, that's for sure. It seems like we live in an era where games are either getting bad review scores before they even come out, or game devs are coercing game journalists, reviewers, and content creators to endorse their shitty products by only approving pre-made footage and stonewalling less favorable outlets or publications. To that I say, welcome to 2023. Patty Mills went on to elaborate a bit further on the subject. Quote, "There's no commentary, just a handful of features being compared. What's the meaning of this comparison? How does this relate to how I should feel about or experience these games? Useless criticism. Indubitably, sir, and I find a lot of his comments on Twitter, X, to be quite funny as well. Check this one out. Genuinely, sincerely love that whenever Cyberpunk is trending, there is a bunch of and lewd cosplay based on our game. It's the goal of every creator to touch your audience, but it's also good when you can help them touch themselves." Alright, that's pretty good, okay? But anyway, I feel like Patrick's comments on the comparison video were right on, especially since I feel like Starfield is suffering a bit from this syndrome. People will line up for decades to play the newest formulaic and unoriginal action games by Ubisoft or ActiBliz, and everyone just takes their bread and circus. But God forbid you release a truly unique, once-in-a-decade game, because everyone's going to criticize the water physics. You know, the era of immersion through gameplay, not visuals, is pretty much bygone at this point. It's like, you don't think the devs noticed this in all their infinite programming and QA and playtesting? Trust me. Bethesda was probably aware that some people would be disappointed that you can't dive into a haystack from a bell tower in Starfield. Jesus Christ. Oh man, I love the internet. There's just an infinite amount of things to bitch about, am I right? But you know what? It really doesn't matter, all things considered, because you still have the freedom to think for yourself and decide how you feel about a game, regardless of how many influencers are telling you otherwise. You know what? I don't really want to leave on this note. I want to give you guys something to really sink your teeth into. Something that will show you just how easy it is to compare two games with the right context, where the one I choose comes out on top. No one asked for this, but here's Starfield compared to Cyberpunk 2077.
Ladies and gentlemen, get your pants on right, strap in, and fire up your engine!